All right, welcome to how to use all the parts of the Scuba unit once you are strapped in. Now, the first thing I want you to take note of is this. This is your inflator. I directed your attention to this in the video on how to assemble the Scuba unit. It has two buttons. The first button is this button on the end. If you're holding this up above your head so that the hose is straight and your head up vertical in the water, you can push this button to let air out and you will begin to descend. This button, the second button that's on the side, if you push it, the air cell blows up. See the air cell? So watch it empty. Deflates and then inflates. And if there's water in it, it'll blow out the lower dump because that's an overpressure relief valve. Now, if you are head down vertical, swimming toward the bottom, and you want to let air out, you have to pull that. That toggle will dump air from the lower dump. You always want to vent the air cell from the relative top of the air cell. So it depends on your orientation in the water, whether you go to this one or to this one. Now, something else that this does is allow you to orally inflate the air cell. If you push this button, it opens the valve. It not only lets air out, but it allows you to blow air into the air cell, like so. And then it comes back out again. Okay. However, remember, if you're trying to put air in, you push this, you blow into this, and then before you take your mouth off of the mouthpiece, you have to let go of the button. Otherwise, the air comes right back out again. Watch. You have to push, blow, and let go. Okay. Next thing, you have your second stage regulator. Now, this has a mouthpiece. This goes in your mouth and you breathe. On the side, you've got this dial. I call it a dial of breath. If you turn it out, then it makes it easier to breathe. If you turn it in, that it increases the breathing resistance or makes it harder to breathe. You've got this thing here on the top which says dive and pre-dive. Okay, so in the dive position, which it is now, there's this little flow vein down inside here that directs the flow of gas when the valve opens straight out of the mouthpiece, out of the orifice. If you leave it like that and the regulator free flows, it'll continue to free flow. So in the pre-dive position, that flow vein obstructs the airflow and stops the free flow. Okay? You won't have to worry about it free flowing if it's in your mouth, though. So it's a good idea, whenever possible, to have this in your mouth if you're wearing scuba gear. That's the whole point, right? Okay, on the front, you've got a purge valve. If you push the purge button, then air comes out here. Okay, now when this is in your mouth, here, directly under your chin, this is the exhaust tee. When you exhale through the regulator, bubbles come out here and here. That's where your exhaled breath comes out. Okay, now, how are you going to use this? Well, once we get set up and we enter the water, we're going to do a controlled seated entry, which we did the last time we were in the pool together. You're going to be completely inflated on your air cell and floating at the surface, okay, positively buoyant. Then, once we're all together, right, we are going to dump the air out of the air cell and we're going to settle down in the water and kneel on the bottom. We're going to do this in the shallow pool. Okay, so you can stand up and be out of the water if you need to, but we're going to dump the air cell and settle to the bottom. Okay, then we're going to do a mass clear, which you've already done, right? And then we are going to do a regulator clear. Now you've cleared your mask and you've cleared your snorkel. Now you have to learn how to clear your regulator. The first thing that we have to do in order to clear the regulator is get it full of water. So you're going to have to point it with the mouthpiece down and submerge it in the water. Once it's submerged, you're going to rotate it very, very slowly. If you don't do this very, very slowly, it'll free flow. You don't want that, okay? But if you turn it very slowly, some bubbles will come out of here and it'll be full of water, right? If it starts to free flow, just point it back at the bottom. If your regulator ever free flows, point it at the bottom, it should stop. If pointing it at the bottom doesn't work, take your hand and cup the mouthpiece like this, and that should stop it. If that doesn't work, then you've got a malfunctioning regulator and you need to do something else. But once it's full of water, you're going to put it in your mouth and you're going to do a blast clear, which is just exhaling through the regulator. So you put the regulator in your mouth and then exhale through the regulator. Then take a few breaths. All right, now you're experiencing what it's like to breathe underwater. After we do that, we're going to do a second regulator clear. This is called the purge clear. Now, with the purge clear, you're going to be pushing the purge button, and that's going to blast air through your second stage. And it will blast the water that's inside the second stage out of the exhaust tee. However, you want to make your tongue big in your mouth so that it doesn't blast any water into your mouth or down your throat. But you're going to, once again, submerge the regulator with the mouthpiece pointed down, rotate it, very slowly, very slowly, very slowly, until the mouthpiece is pointed up. Now it's full of water. Then you're going to bend at the waist. We're going to do this standing. Bend at the waist, put your face down in the water, take the regulator now, and go, and your regulator will be clear and you can take a few breaths on it. Okay, that's regulator clearing. Two of them, a blast and a purge. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is regulator recovery. If your regulator gets out of your mouth and you've lost it for some reason, you've got to find it and put it back in. The first regulator recovery that we're going to do is called a sweep recovery. You are going to lean in an exaggerated manner to your right. One more very, very important thing, okay? You never hold your breath when you're underwater, ever. So if your regulator is out of your mouth, and every time your regulator is out of your mouth, I want you to be making a steady stream of small bubbles. Like that. Constant exhale. Don't blow all your air out. You just have to keep the airway open to prevent a lung overexpansion injury. So you're going to start by leaning in an exaggerated manner to your right. Then you're going to take your right hand and you're going to bring it in tight to your side, brushing your thigh. Come all the way around. Touch your tank, bottom back here, all the way around. And when you come back here, you should find your regulator right here on your arm. Put it in your mouth. Do a blast clear. The second regulator recovery that we're going to do, and my hand signal is to tap my regulator and hold up 2 fingers for that. The second one is called the reach recovery, because it's possible that your regulator could get hung up and you can't sweep it. Oh no, what are we going to do now? Well, that low pressure hose that's connected to your second stage is, the other end of it is connected to your first stage. If you lose that end of the hose, something is bad wrong. So all you have to do is take your hand, grab the bottom of your tank, pull it up and out to the left. That will make your first stage appear over your right shoulder. Then you just reach back here and grab the hose, see the hose, where it goes into the first stage. And then follow that to your second stage, put it in your mouth, go purge clear. And remember, if the regulator's out of your mouth, blow bubbles. Also, when you take an initial breath on the regulator after you clear it, put your tongue up against the back of your front teeth, so if there's any residual water in the regulator, you don't suck it down your throat. Okay, so we did a blast and a purge regulator clear. We did a sweep and a reach regulator recovery. All right, here we go.